The map war heats up. Apple confirms it has acquired Wi-Fi Slam. What is that? Well, the Wall Street Journal says the tech startup that specializes in indoor mapping cost $20 million. Not much for Apple. This latest buy is all part of Apple's plan to build up its mapping capabilities against Google. Samuel Burke, our resident tech guy, joins us now from our CNN Money Bureau in New York. Samuel, tell me about this.
Well, look, this is something new for Apple, but it's not new for Google Maps. I have some video here that looks at Google Maps service indoors that they launched last year. So they already have 10,000 maps in airports, in shopping malls, and other points of big commerce to help people get around. So imagine if you're in an airport and you need to go from gate 5 to gate 6, but they're not exactly next to each other. These maps can help you get there. And this new Wi-Fi Slam service that Apple has acquired says that they can do it with up to 2.5 meters or 8 feet of accuracy using Wi-Fi triangulation, which is, say, instead of using the GPS that you're used to when you use Google Maps out in the street, they're looking inside these buildings using Wi-Fi hotspots. So this can tell you exactly where you are.
Yeah, I don't even understand how that works. I didn't know Wi-Fi could locate me. But here's the question. Apple generally believes that they build the software, the operating system, and let app developers build these things.
That's right.
Why are they getting into this software app market?
Well, what's happening is all of these phones are starting to look more and more similar. When the iPhone first came out, it was something new, it was different, but we can touch all these screens now, and they're becoming cheaper and cheaper, which is great for us, the consumer, but not great for those companies. So given the fact that all these phones are more similar, they actually have to make sure that the software keeps us hooked to them. We saw that new touchless software with Samsung. And so we all remember that Apple Maps disaster last year when they launched their apps that was supposed to compete with Google, and it was a complete disaster. People were seemingly ending up in the wrong continents because of these maps, and heads flew at Google. So this is them trying to rev up and be able to compete head-to-head with Google and other big cell phone companies, which are already moving mapping indoors.
You gave me this one example of an airport, and I totally get that. That makes sense. Is that it? I mean, can you think of other good reasons why somebody would need a GPS type of thing, a mapping thing indoors?
Well, what about merchants, for example? I was thinking if I were in a grocery store and I were running a grocery store, it might be interesting to be able to use a mapping device, an app device, inside one of these phones to be able to tell you your favorite cookies are just down the aisle or a little bit down the way, so you could use it in that way. But all kinds of questions here about privacy. We've seen those apps that have maps of everywhere that you've been, the map around England. I saw someone who had been all around there. But then on the other hand, what about safety? It could help in a situation. Imagine if you were looking for your kid in some type of tragedy and you're trying to figure out exactly what room they're in. So it could have that type of benefit here. But I think this is already happening. It's going to happen whether we want it to or not.